Hey guys, it's Saria. Welcome back to my channel. So today's video is going to be showing you guys how I made this set of Herc inspired sandals. I did paint a pair of sandals to look like the Hercs from the movie Hercules. I was about to say my favorite Disney movie and I couldn't get it out because I was like, oh, but there's so many. So these ended up being made not even for Halloween for me. We have a lot of spirit days and dress up days at the school that I teach at, and my co-teachers, we had a villains day, and so I suggested doing Pain, Panic, and Hades, and they all were on board with this. So I wanted to be Pain, if not only for the fact that I wanted to paint Hercs. So I don't have any individual photos because I'm a dum-dum and I didn't think to take any, and I don't have a video other than the TikToks we made of me in the costume. However, I did think that this was a really good idea for a last minute Halloween costume, and that's one of the reasons I wanted to get this video out to you guys before Halloween, because especially if you and your bestie are looking for a costume, I think Pain and Panic is a really fun one. And this is more like a Disney bounding of them with costume elements as opposed to a full-blown costume. I will have linked down below the items that I wore for my costume for Pain, and then if you're also looking for Panic, just let me know in the comments and I can send you the links for my friend's outfit. And then if you're looking for Hades, I can also tell you what we used, but it really was just like a muumuu dress and a bed sheet. So anyway, most of what this video is going to be focusing on how I made the Hercs, so if you are interested in that tutorial, then just keep watching.
So starting off with the shoes, I got these on a lightning deal and I believe they were $12 when I paid for them. They are definitely not the most high quality sandals that I've ever owned, but they are pretty comfortable and easy to paint. So that was my goal for these. I did want to find something with a strap across the toes as well as an ankle strap. I would have loved something to go between my toes for these, but that was just a little bit too specific from what I was looking for something affordable. I definitely would suggest checking out your thrift stores though, because if you're going to be painting them anyway, then it doesn't matter if they're kind of scuffed up, like these came, by the way. So starting off, I'm going to be doing the bottom layer of color first, which is going to be a really dark navy blue, and I'm using washi tape to tape out my lines. Now originally I tried to do this all in one piece of tape, but realized that that was absolutely not going to work. So I started tearing the tape into smaller pieces and just working a little bit at a time. Once I had the first shoe totally taped out, then I went ahead and used it kind of as a guide for the second shoe because I wanted to make sure that the stripes lined up pretty well and one of them didn't look significantly thicker or thinner than the other one. So I just used that as a starting point for my tape, and then I went all the way around on the second shoe. Now for paint, I'm just going to be using really cheap Apple Barrel acrylic paint. This one's called Admiral Blue, and it's a really nice navy blue tone. It did take, I believe, 3 coats of each color in order to make it completely opaque and not be able to see the brush strokes in the paint. So maybe invest in a slightly better acrylic paint if you don't want to have to do that many coats. Now originally I started with an up and down motion with my brush because in my head this made more sense to try to avoid getting blue paint on the brown portion of the shoe that you can see there, but eventually I totally gave that up and I ended up painting the bottom of the shoe blue anyway. So not the part that actually goes on the ground, but just the edge of that brown portion of the shoe I end up painting blue anyway. So I would suggest horizontal brush strokes because it will be so much easier to get these coats done faster. When you're doing kind of that up and down brush stroke motion, it just takes a lot more time, and you can see me here trying to keep the brown portion of the shoe clean. It was just a total waste of time, so then I went in and filled it in, and this just got faster. I also went ahead and did both shoes at the same time just to make sure that I was doing the coats evenly, if that makes sense. I didn't want to forget that I was on coat number 2 on shoe 1 and coat number 3 on shoe 2 or something like that. So I would suggest doing it at the same time when you're working. The next paint that we're going to be using is this blue, again, Apple Barrel turquoise paint. This is a high gloss and it turned out really, really pretty. And that's what we're going to be using on the straps as well as the second stripe on the shoe, but we can't do that until the navy blue has dried. So right now I'm just going to be painting the straps. I would say the straps were the easiest thing on the entire shoe to paint. They took the paint extremely well. I did want to show you guys the shoes as they were at this portion. So the shoe that I'm about to jiggle on the left-hand side of the screen has 2 coats, whereas the other side has 1 coat. Now this next color is completely up for debate because I see pictures of Hercs where it's like this magenta tone that I went with, but I've also seen them more purple, and then I've seen them completely pink. So I mixed a little bit of purple into this magenta tone, and I honestly think that, oh, and light pink, sorry, just to try to get the right color. And when I first mixed this, I was super happy with it, but then I saw another reference photo and was like, oh, I messed it up. But the thing is, guys, like, no one's really gonna know. Like, no one's gonna look at your shoes and be like, oh my gosh, you are 4 shades too light on the color wheel. So leaving on that same purple washi tape, I have not peeled it off yet because I'm going to be using this as the line marker for the magenta tone that I'm painting on right now. So this is the top stripe. So there are 3 stripes on the base of the shoe. There's a navy blue, the lighter blue, which will match the straps, and then this magenta tone. So just go ahead and fill in the top portion of the shoe and then allow that first coat to dry. Also, totally forgot to say this, but the top strap over your toes is also that magenta color. So that portion will be the same color as the top layer of stripes. I feel like I'm over explaining this because you guys can evidently see it. I did go ahead and do the final coats of the dark blue and the magenta, and I believe I only had to do 2 coats of those darker colors. But I didn't film all of it just because this video would be a million years long. This next portion, unfortunately, I had zoomed in my camera for something that I'm going to show you in a minute, and I forgot to zoom back out, but I'm peeling off the washi tape of the shoes, and I'm going to go in with that light blue color and fill in the middle stripe. I did not have time to washi tape the shoe and then do the light blue color because right now the magenta color is actually still wet. I had just given it a second coat, and then I'm also going to go in and do the light blue color because I needed to wear these the very next day and I needed them to be done. So I'm not going to be able to tape my lines and make them ultra straight. I'm just going to have to do my very best. Now, I do want to finish the painting instructions before I move on. So I have this color shift paint that I got from Walmart. It's a purple color shift, and I thought that it would look really pretty on top of the magenta color. I was very happy with how this turned out. I just thought it made the shoes look a little bit more nice and finished. So I'm just going in and adding this as a top coat to anything that has magenta on it. So this next step of painting, I 100% did not think I was going to do, and that's painting the base of the shoe yellow. I was like, no, that's going to look gross. White will look better. But I was 100% wrong. The yellow is a necessity if you want these to look like Hercs. I am just taking a sponge brush and I am doing this so lightly. Like, it does not need to be a thick coat. I'm not trying to really cover it. I'm just kind of just trying to tint the white of the shoe yellow. And really that's what made these look like Hercs, because before I did this, I was like, they just don't look right. But in this screen right here, I was like, oh yeah, okay, that looks good. So I am making the portion in front of my toes just a little bit darker because that's the part that's going to show, like my foot is going to cover the most of what you can see here. So I wasn't super concerned with making it totally opaque. And I think that that's what made it look really nice. Okay, so full and honest disclosure, this is the vinyl that I recently reviewed on my channel. If you guys missed that video, I will have it linked for you guys, but I was sent this vinyl by a company named HTV Aunt, and overall, I really liked this vinyl. However, for this particular project, this vinyl was terrible. It did not work. It did not stick to the shoe. It didn't stick to the craft foam I needed to stick it to, and also for some reason, this yellow one specifically, I had so much trouble weeding, and it was the only one that I had trouble with. So it was very, very odd that it was like a specific color. And also you can see on my mat there, but it's pretty sheer and see-through. So I don't know. I really do like this vinyl. I use it in a bunch more videos coming up. So clearly I'm enjoying it because I keep using it. But for this particular project, it was not the best. So luckily I had another yellow vinyl on hand, and I believe this is just Cricut brand vinyl, and it did stick to craft foam the way that I needed it to. Now this was still a total pain in the butt to weed just because everything was so tiny on him, but these are going to be for the little ankle additions. It's like a little purple medallion, if you will, and it's got his profile on it in very Greek style. So you can see me struggling here. Like, weeding this was just not fun. And it did take me a couple tries, but I also was just like, this is a necessity. I have to have this on the shoe. Also, full disclosure, it was definitely like 11:30 at night on a school night, and I was needing to wear these to school for a dress-up day the next day, so I was already tired and frustrated at this point just because I wanted to go to bed. But this vinyl did stick very well to the craft foam. I still had to be really careful, but there you go. There it was, ready to go. And then I'm doing the second one, and then I am going to trace an oval shape onto the craft foam before I cut it out and add it onto my shoes. So using just regular paper, I'm going to fold the paper in half and then trace a half circle onto it, hoping that it's large enough and kind of using my craft foam for reference there. And then I will just cut this out of scissors and see if it's the right size. And then I will use that as my tracing template to actually cut the craft foam, because I did not want to deal with retransferring on these little Hercules heads. So I wanted to make sure once I cut the craft foam, it was 100% right. So after tracing the template, then I'm just going to go in with an X-Acto knife and cut these out. Now you totally could just glue these onto your shoes, but I didn't want to because I wanted them to, one, be removable, and two, I wanted them to be on the side of the shoe with the buckle. So the only way to do that and still make the shoe easily able to buckle and unbuckle is to attach a safety pin. So I am just going to use a bunch of hot glue and a really large safety pin, and I'm just going to glue on the safety pin, and that's how I'll be attaching these to the shoes. The next step, just to make sure these shoes can withstand being worn, I'm going to add a lot of Mod Podge onto them. Now, I don't 100% know that this is the best way, but Mod Podge was something that I had on hand, so I'm just really caking it on anywhere that there's paint. I did this on the base, on the straps, on the part that my foot actually touches. I just wanted to make sure that they could stand being worn. I did wear them all day at school, and I work until about 6 p.m. because of rehearsals, so they definitely stood up for at least a whole day of wear, and they don't have any signs of wear on them. Continuing with the Mod Podge, I am also Mod Podging over the little Hercules head medallions because I want to make sure that the vinyl does not peel up. I did want to show you guys that I went ahead and made the Hercules logo on just a clear cup that I had on hand. This is using the vinyl that I was sent, and it worked really, really well. So I just already had the Herc profile picture on my silhouette, so I figured, oh, why not? Like I said, this was a dress-up day at school, and my teacher bestie was dressed up as Pain, and then our other teacher bestie was dressed up as Hades. So he's a really good sport. So I decided to make my friend who was dressed up as Pain a little prop for TikToks and pictures. Was it worth it? Yes. Yes, it was. Getting back to the shoes, I also cut out the Herc logo using that same yellow vinyl that did work on the craft foam. And I'm just going to be applying this across the strap that goes across my toes. This was pretty easy. Like, it did stick pretty well. I just had to go really slow when I was pulling the transfer tape off. And then I also wanted to show you guys what the little buckle looks like after you put it on. So I did leave a little loop in the strap to have somewhere to buckle it onto, and that's what it looks like all done. Now I do want to show you guys there are definitely some painting imperfections. I did go in and touch up the edges just a little bit more before wearing these, but overall I like to go off the theater rule of the 30-foot rule, where you can't really see any imperfections from 30 feet away. And why are people that close to your feet, you know? And then the final step is going to be Mod Podging the letters on the strap. So this is just, again, to make sure that you've got a really nice adherence and that they're not going to be peeling as you're wearing them. That is the final step in making your very own set of air Hercs. I hope you guys found this tutorial helpful. If you have any questions at all, please feel free to leave them for me in the comments. I'm always happy to help you guys. And I also have linked below all of the pieces that I personally wore in my pain costume.
I don't know. I thought they looked kind of dashing. You are wearing his merchandise!
Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video.